She walked in slowly and left me speechless. Aliens of countless forms moved through the corridors, trading goods, sending messages, or simply watching. Their eyes were sharp, their movements precise. Humans, on the other hand, were still a rare sight here. Small, fragile, and underestimated, they were often ignored, treated like children by more advanced species. Kale, a young human engineer, leaned against the railing of the observation deck, watching the chaos below. His fingers tapped nervously on the metal, a habit he had developed to calm his nerves. Despite the bustling crowd, he felt out of place. Most humans in the station kept to themselves, trying not to draw attention. Kale, however, had a curiosity he could not suppress. He loved to watch, to analyze, to notice details that others overlooked. And today his attention was caught by something, or rather someone, that would change everything. She walked in slowly. At first, Kale thought he had imagined it. Among the dozens of travelers, a woman moved differently. There was no rush in her step, no flurry of gestures or anxious glances. Every motion was deliberate, controlled, as if she were perfectly aware of her surroundings and had all the time in the world. Her suit, a reflective material that shimmered with faint colors, hugged her figure and moved with her like a second skin. What made Kale pause, however, was not her suit or her calm manner. It was the presence she carried. Even in a station filled with noise, confusion, and alien chatter, she seemed to pull the air toward her. Heads turned automatically as she passed, conversations paused, and even guards momentarily forgot their duties. Something about her said, "Do not underestimate me." Kale's curiosity forced him to follow, keeping a careful distance. He watched as she navigated the crowd with ease, avoiding obstacles not by rushing but by stepping with precision. It was a dance, a slow, careful dance that no alien or human had ever performed so naturally in a place like this. The alien guards noticed too, whispering to each other in clipped tones. "Who is she?" one asked, his multiple eyes narrowing. "She does not match any registry," another replied. "No identification, no record of docking." Kale felt a thrill. A human stranger, already commanding attention in ways he had only dreamed about. His heart raced, and he realized with a mix of fear and excitement that this woman was extraordinary. She paused for a moment near a docking bay, her head tilting slightly as if listening to something no one else could hear. A small holographic device hovered in her hand, projecting faint patterns of light into the air. Kale could not tell what it was, but its presence made the surrounding guards shift nervously. Then, without warning, she spoke. Her voice was calm, clear, and rich, an odd thing in the noisy station. "Step aside," she said, not as a command, but as a statement. A group of alien security officers moved forward, their weapons raised. Kale's stomach knotted. He expected a confrontation. But instead, she lifted her hand, slowly, deliberately. The holographic device in her palm pulsed with soft light. For a brief moment, Kale swore he saw the gravity in the docking bay shift. Crates and equipment floated slightly before settling safely back on the floor. The officers froze, unsure what to do. Then, just as quickly, she lowered her hand. Everything returned to normal. The guards blinked, clearly shaken, and the woman continued her walk, unhurried, unaffected by their intimidation. Kale's jaw dropped. Humans were supposed to be fragile, unimportant, unable to influence events on this scale. And yet here she was, proving that even a single human could command attention, respect, and a little fear. He followed her further, through the maze of corridors that twisted like a labyrinth. Other travelers moved aside instinctively, sensing her presence. Kale noticed small details others might miss. The way her eyes scanned the environment, noting exits, cameras, and patrols. The subtle way she adjusted her posture, balancing speed and awareness perfectly. The tiny smile she gave a frightened child who had wandered too close. She was human, yet she seemed to transcend human limitations. Kale's thoughts raced. Who was she? What was she doing here? And more importantly, what would happen if she left the station without anyone understanding what she had or who she truly was? They entered a quieter sector of Novaris Station, where merchants sold exotic goods and alien traders haggled over rare metals and energy crystals. Kale noticed that even here, in a place far from official control, the woman's presence commanded respect. A large alien merchant stopped mid-sail, holding a crystal suspended in the air, as if time itself had slowed. He bowed slightly, though Kale knew he did not fully understand why. The woman paused at a doorway, her hand brushing over the edge of the frame. Kale could see her studying something beyond the wall, something invisible to everyone else. Then, almost imperceptibly, she smiled. Not a smile of happiness, but of knowledge. She knew something everyone else did not. And then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, she vanished into the corridor beyond the doorway. Kale stopped. His heart pounded. The crowd, which had been subtly influenced by her presence, seemed to return to normal, unaware of the strange, electric tension that had filled the air moments before. He felt a mix of awe and frustration. He had no idea where she had gone, no way to follow without attracting attention, and yet he could not turn away. A voice broke through his thoughts. "You were watching her, weren't you?" Kale spun around to see an older human, a technician who worked in the station's maintenance sector. She had sharp eyes, graying hair pulled back, and a knowing smile. "Not many humans pay attention to newcomers," she continued. "But you noticed something special." "That woman, she's not ordinary." Kale swallowed, unsure how to respond. "What do you mean?" he asked. "She carries more than a device," the technician said quietly, glancing toward the doorway the woman had disappeared through. "She carries the kind of skill, calm, and power that humans aren't supposed to have. Some say she could change things here in this galaxy." Kale's mind whirled. Could one human really have that much impact? He had always believed in human ingenuity, in the ability to adapt, to create solutions where others saw none. But this was beyond what he had imagined. He felt a surge of determination. He did not know who she was or why she had come to Novaris Station, but he knew one thing: he would find out. Somehow he would follow her path, understand her purpose, and perhaps even learn from her. As the station returned to its usual chaos, Kale lingered at the doorway, peering into the twisting corridors beyond. Somewhere out there, a human moved with calm precision, slowly but deliberately, leaving everyone who watched speechless. And Kale knew in that moment that nothing in his life, or in the galaxy, would ever be the same again. The woman had walked in slowly, and in doing so, she had left the entire station, and Kale himself, utterly stunned. Kale spent the next few hours wandering through the quieter sections of Novaris Station. He could not shake the image of the woman who had walked in slowly and left him speechless. Everywhere he looked, he saw aliens bustling with their usual precision, but none carried the same weight, the same quiet authority. Kale's curiosity burned brighter with every step. He wandered toward a maintenance hangar he often visited, hoping the solitude would give him space to think. The air smelled of ozone and polished metal, and the soft hum of machinery filled the empty space. Kale rested against a railing, rubbing his hands together, thinking about what he had witnessed. Suddenly, the hangar doors hissed open. A small group of aliens entered, looking tense, scanning the area. Kale instinctively moved back, trying not to be noticed. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw her again, the woman in the reflective suit. She had reappeared, and this time she was holding a device that pulsed with a soft, blue glow. Kale's breath caught. The device looked small, but it radiated energy that seemed larger than its size. He could not guess what it did, but the aliens moving toward her clearly understood its importance. They carried weapons, yet they hesitated as she calmly observed them. The woman's voice broke the tense silence. "I am not here to fight," she said evenly. "Step back and no one will be hurt." The aliens blinked, unsure. Some lowered their weapons slightly, while others shifted nervously. Kale noticed the device in her hands vibrating subtly, responding to the movement of the aliens around her. Kale's mind raced. This was no ordinary tool. Whatever this device was, it had power, real, measurable power. And somehow only she could control it with such precision. He felt a mix of awe and fear. Humans were not supposed to possess this kind of skill in a galaxy ruled by advanced civilizations. Yet here she was, proving that one human could manipulate events with a single device and calm determination. One of the aliens finally spoke. "You do not belong here, give us the device." The woman shook her head slowly. "I cannot, not yet, it is not for you to have." Kale's curiosity pushed him forward. He needed to know more. He stepped out from his hiding place and the woman's gaze met his. For a brief moment their eyes locked, and Kale felt a strange sense of understanding. It was as if she knew he was there, as if she could see that he would help her. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly, more to him than to the aliens. I just want to understand," Kale admitted. "Who are you? What is that device?" She studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then slowly she gestured for him to come closer. Kale obeyed, keeping his movements careful and deliberate. He did not want to startle her or draw the attention of the aliens. "This device," she said, holding it up so that its soft glow illuminated her face, "can manipulate gravitational fields on a planetary scale." Kale's eyes widened. He had studied physics, engineering, and space travel, but the concept of controlling gravity on such a scale was beyond anything he had learned. "Gravity?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "You mean you can change the pull of a planet?" She nodded. "Yes. It is a delicate process. A wrong move could destabilize an entire colony or even a star system. But I have trained, and humans have a unique way of solving problems that no other species can." Kale frowned. "Humans? I don't understand. Other species can't do this." "No," she said, her tone calm but firm. "Aliens rely on technology, precision, and sheer force. Humans think differently. We adapt, we improvise, and we find solutions when none exist. That is why I am the one controlling this device." Kale felt a surge of pride. Even in the face of advanced aliens, humans had something special, something beyond technology or weapons. They had creativity, intuition, and courage. And this woman, Leora, as she finally told him her name, was the perfect example. Before Kale could respond, the aliens advanced again, their weapons raised. The air seemed to thrum with tension. Leora's hand hovered over the device, and Kale felt a slight pull, as if gravity itself was bending in response. "Step back," she warned again. And then, subtly, the crates and machinery around them shifted slightly, not enough to harm anyone, but enough to show the aliens that the environment was under her control. They hesitated. Kale realized that she was not relying on brute force. She was using her mind, her instincts, and the device in harmony. This was human ingenuity at its finest, thinking outside the box, using creativity over violence, and remaining calm under pressure. One of the alien leaders finally lowered his weapon fully. "You are extraordinary," he admitted. "We did not anticipate this." Leora did not respond with pride or arrogance. She simply nodded once slowly, as if acknowledging a fact she had always known. Then, without another word, she motioned for Kale to follow her. "We need to move," she said. Kale hesitated for only a moment before agreeing. He felt both fear and excitement. He had no idea where she was going, but he knew that following her meant stepping into something far bigger than anything he had imagined. They moved through the station, avoiding patrols and security checkpoints. Kale noticed how easily Leora navigated the crowded corridors, using small details, shadows, angles, even the movement of others, to her advantage. Her slow, deliberate pace was deceptive. Every step was calculated, precise, and effective. "Why are you here?" Kale asked quietly as they walked. "Why come to Novara Station?" Leora's eyes focused ahead, thoughtful. "I am delivering this device to a research station orbiting a dying star. It is crucial for the survival of certain human colonies. If it falls into the wrong hands—" She paused, her expression unreadable. "You can imagine the consequences." Kale nodded, understanding more than she might have expected. Humans, scattered across the galaxy, relied on one another in ways other species could not comprehend. Colonies depended on ingenuity, on cooperation, and on individuals willing to take risks. And Leora was about to risk everything for them. They reached a side exit that led to a small shuttle bay. A sleek, unmarked vessel waited, its engines humming softly. Leora opened the hatch and motioned for Kale to board. As he stepped inside, he noticed the simplicity of the controls. The shuttle did not rely on advanced alien systems. It was designed for human use, simple, efficient, and adaptable. As the shuttle lifted off, Kale felt a sense of awe. He looked at Leora, her calm expression reflecting the faint glow of the device. He realized that the galaxy often underestimated humans. Other species relied on rules, on rigid structures, on sheer power. Humans adapted. They improvised. And in the hands of someone like Leora, even the most impossible challenges could be faced with confidence. The shuttle navigated through the station's traffic effortlessly, weaving between larger ships without alerting security. Kale watched in amazement as Leora manipulated the controls with subtle gestures, using intuition rather than strict calculations. It was an art form, a combination of skill, experience, and human creativity. Finally, the shuttle exited the station and entered the vast expanse of space. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction, and Kale felt a thrill unlike anything he had experienced before. He realized that he was part of something much larger than himself, something that could change the perception of humans across the galaxy. Leora turned to him, her calm expression breaking into a small, confident smile. "You will see soon enough," she said softly. "Humans have a way of surprising others. We are underestimated until we are not." Kale nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. He had seen it himself. A single human had walked into Novaris Station slowly, deliberately, and left everyone speechless. Now he understood that it was not just the device, the presence, or the skill. It was the human spirit, creativity, and courage that made the difference. As the shuttle disappeared into the blackness of space, Kale realized that this journey was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, and humans were just beginning to show their true potential. And with Leora leading the way, Kale knew that he would witness humanity's ingenuity in action, and perhaps even be a part of it. For the first time in his life, he felt a surge of hope. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they were capable of far more than anyone had ever imagined. And with someone like Leora showing the way, the galaxy itself would soon have to take notice. The stars stretched endlessly around the shuttle as it glided silently through the void of space. Kale pressed his hands against the console, still trying to process the events of the past hours. Leora, sitting calmly in the pilot's seat, navigated with ease, her hands hovering just above the controls, her eyes scanning the faint glow of distant stars. Kale could not help but notice the contrast between her deliberate movements and the subtle speed at which she made decisions. Every gesture was slow, almost casual, yet perfectly precise. It was a skill he had never seen before, even among the most experienced pilots. "You have a plan, don't you?" Kale asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Leora nodded. "Of course, but it is not a plan others would expect. That is the advantage." Kale frowned. "Others, you mean aliens?" "Yes," she said simply. "There are those who would stop me from completing this mission. They do not understand humans, but they will try to prevent what we must do." Kale shivered. The thought of alien forces trying to intercept them made his stomach twist with nervous energy. Yet even as fear surged within him, he could not deny the thrill of the adventure. This was no ordinary mission. It was a chance to witness the unique capabilities of humans in a galaxy that often overlooked them. The shuttle passed through a dense asteroid field, jagged rocks drifting silently in the darkness. Kale held his breath as Leora guided them through narrow gaps, avoiding collisions by mere inches. Her calm expression never faltered. "How do you do it?" Kale asked. "You're moving slower than I would, but it feels like you're controlling everything perfectly." Leora smiled faintly. "Speed is not always strength. Observation, patience, and careful thought, that is what allows humans to succeed where others fail. Watch carefully." As if to demonstrate, she tilted the shuttle slightly, letting a small asteroid drift past a narrow opening. The ship seemed to bend with the asteroid's path, as though anticipating its movement. Kale realized that she was not merely reacting. She was predicting, calculating, adjusting before the obstacles even became threats. They emerged from the asteroid field into open space, the distant glow of a dying star filling the viewport. The research station orbited this star, its structures fragile against the harsh light. Kale's eyes widened. From this distance, the station seemed vulnerable, almost insignificant compared to the power of the device they carried. "Why here?" Kale asked. "Why risk so much for this station?" Leora's gaze was steady. "This station holds the key to stabilizing human colonies threatened by gravitational anomalies. If this device is installed here, it can save billions. If it falls into the wrong hands," her voice softened, "it could be catastrophic." Kale felt a chill. The weight of their mission pressed down on him, and yet watching Leora, he felt a strange reassurance. Her calm, deliberate movements, her unwavering focus, and her confidence in human ingenuity made him feel that together they could overcome anything. As they approached the station, sensors blinked warnings. Leora glanced at them and tilted her head slightly. "We are not alone," she said. "Prepare yourself." Kale's heart raced as a fleet of alien ships emerged from the shadow of a nearby asteroid belt. Sleek black vessels moved in coordinated formation, clearly anticipating their approach. Kale felt a surge of panic. The aliens outnumbered them 10-1. "Stay calm," Leora said. "Watch, learn." The aliens fired first, energy beams slicing through the void. Leora adjusted the shuttle slowly, almost lazily, yet every movement was precise. the beams missed by mere meters, grazing the edges of the shuttle. Kale's hands shook, but he noticed the pattern. Leora did not panic. She did not react hastily. She observed the aliens' movements, anticipating their attacks before they were even fired. "Humans adapt," she said quietly, almost to herself. "We improvise, that is our advantage." With a subtle flick of her wrist, the shuttle moved closer to an asteroid, using it as cover. Kale watched in awe as Leora manipulated the ship's minor thrusters, adjusting gravity around the shuttle just enough to shift their trajectory. The alien fleet faltered, unsure how to respond. Kale realized something important. It was not the shuttle, not the technology that gave them an edge. It was Leora's mind, human creativity, intuition, and calm under pressure. She turned disadvantages into opportunities, obstacles into advantages. The shuttle emerged from the asteroid field into open space near the station. Leora engaged the device briefly, creating a subtle gravitational bubble that slowed the approach of the alien ships. They drifted harmlessly, unable to fire effectively as the shuttle glided toward the station. Kale felt a surge of excitement. Humans could truly bend the rules, using intellect and ingenuity instead of brute force. They docked at the station with minimal noise. Leora guided them into a maintenance bay where the device could be safely installed. Kale followed, feeling a mix of awe and determination. He was part of something larger than himself, something that could change the course of human history. Inside the station, the corridors were narrow, dimly lit, and filled with the hum of machinery. Leora moved slowly, deliberately, scanning every corner. Kale noticed the subtle gestures she made, adjusting a panel here, pressing a sensor there, using minor gravitational shifts to move obstacles silently. Every action was precise, purposeful. "This is what humans do best," Leora said. "We adapt, we improvise. We use our minds to solve problems that others cannot." They reached the control room of the station, a fragile structure perched precariously above the dying star. The room contained the main reactor, delicate circuits, and complex machinery. Kale looked around, feeling a surge of responsibility. One wrong move could destroy everything. Leora began the installation process. Her hands moved slowly, deliberately, aligning the device with the station's systems. Kale watched, trying to learn, absorbing every detail. She did not rush, yet she accomplished in minutes what Kale would have taken hours to attempt. Suddenly, alarms blared. The alien fleet had followed them, breaking through the gravitational bubble. Red lights flashed across the control panels. Kale's heart raced. Leora did not flinch. She continued her work, her movements calm and precise even as the station shook under minor impacts. Kale realized the lesson. Fear could paralyze. Humans could overcome fear with patience, focus, and ingenuity. Leora embodied this principle perfectly. One of the aliens attempted to breach the station's hull. Leora raised her hand slightly, activating the device. A localized gravitational field shifted the intruder off course, sending it spinning harmlessly into space. Kale could hardly believe his eyes. The device was powerful, yes, but it was Leora's understanding of it, her human ingenuity, that made it effective. The installation continued. Kale assisted where he could, following her instructions precisely. Leora guided him, teaching him how to anticipate problems, how to observe patterns, and how to adjust carefully without panic. Minutes stretched into an hour, and finally, the device was integrated. The station's systems hummed steadily, the gravitational anomalies stabilizing. Kale felt a surge of relief. They had done it. The mission against all odds was a success. Leora leaned back, her calm demeanor unchanged, yet her eyes sparkled with satisfaction. "This is what humans do," she said softly. "We adapt, we improvise. We succeed even when the odds are against us." Kale nodded, overwhelmed. He had seen it firsthand. A single human, moving deliberately, thinking creatively, and remaining calm under pressure, could overcome dangers that seemed impossible. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they had an edge no other species could match. The alien fleet retreated, unable to comprehend how a single shuttle piloted by one human could outmaneuver them. Kale felt pride swell within him. Humans were not weak. Humans were capable of extraordinary things, and this mission, this moment, had proven it. As they prepared to leave the station, Kale glanced at Leora. She had walked in slowly, faced unimaginable danger, and completed a mission that could save countless lives. And she had done it not with force, but with patience, ingenuity, and courage, the very essence of humanity. For the first time, Kale truly understood what it meant to be human in a galaxy that often overlooked them. Humans were clever, adaptable, and brave. One human, properly trained and guided by intelligence, could change the course of events in ways no alien could anticipate. And Kale knew that this was only the beginning. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of danger and opportunity. With Leora leading the way and humans showing their true strength, the galaxy would never underestimate them again. And Kale would be there to witness it, learning, helping, and discovering the full power of human ingenuity in a universe that had thought it small. The research station floated silently above the dying star, its metal surfaces reflecting the faint, fiery glow. Inside, the gravity device hummed softly, integrated into the station's systems. Kale watched the readings on the monitor, feeling a sense of relief and accomplishment. They had completed the installation, and for a moment it seemed as though the mission had succeeded without further trouble. But Leora did not relax. Her eyes were sharp, scanning every monitor, every sensor, every blip in the station's network. She moved slowly, deliberately, as if predicting what was coming next. Kale had learned by now that her calm movements concealed lightning-fast calculations. Every step she took, every adjustment she made had purpose. The first warning came quietly, a soft red flash on the console. Kale's stomach tightened. "What is it?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "They're here," Leora said calmly. Her hands hovered over the console, fingers tracing invisible patterns in the air. "The alien coalition we anticipated, they've found the station." Kale's heart pounded. He had expected trouble, yes, but he had not imagined it would arrive so quickly. The readings on the monitor confirmed it. A fleet of heavily armed alien ships was approaching, moving in tight formation, weapons ready. The station's defenses were insufficient to repel them. "They want the device," Kale said, swallowing hard. "They'll destroy the station if they don't get it." Leora's gaze remained steady. "They underestimate humans," she said, "and that is their mistake." Kale watched as she rose, walking slowly down the corridor toward the central hub. Her movements were deliberate, measured, unhurried. He wanted to run to her side to help, but he knew better. Leora's strength was not in speed or brute force. It was in strategy, observation, and human ingenuity. When they entered the central hub, the doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. The room was filled with consoles, panels, and the soft hum of the newly installed device. Kale could see the alien fleet approaching through the viewport, their weapons glinting in the light of the dying star. Leora raised her hands slightly, activating the device. A subtle gravitational field extended around the station, bending the paths of approaching ships just enough to create small obstacles. The alien vessels adjusted their trajectory, confused by the unexpected effects. Kale watched in awe. "It's working," he whispered. Leora nodded. "Yes, but this is only the beginning." The aliens fired, energy beams streaking through space. The station shuddered under the impacts, but Leora remained calm. With a subtle gesture, she adjusted the device again, shifting gravity around incoming ships. Some beams were deflected harmlessly, others slowed enough for the station's limited shields to absorb the impact. Kale realized that her power did not come from strength alone. It came from understanding the environment, predicting movements, and improvising solutions under pressure. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, but here, one human was proving the galaxy wrong. The alien ships regrouped, attempting a coordinated attack. Leora walked slowly to the center of the hub, her hand raised, directing the gravitational adjustments with precision. Kale could see the patterns forming on the monitors, arcs of energy bending, trajectories shifting, and obstacles appearing at exactly the right moments. The aliens faltered, unsure how to respond to these unexpected tactics. "Why are they hesitating?" Kale asked, his voice tense. "They expect direct attacks," Leora explained. "They do not understand indirect strategy, patience, or adaptation. They do not understand humans." Kale felt a surge of pride. Humans were clever, creative, and adaptable. One human could turn the tide of battle with intelligence and calm determination. Leora embodied every quality he had admired. The alien fleet attempted a breach. One ship fired a concentrated beam directly at the station's hull. Kale braced for impact, but Leora's hand moved slightly, and the beam bent, striking a nearby asteroid instead. The alien vessel rocked, thrown off balance by its own weapon. "They're learning the hard way," Leora said quietly. Humans adapt quickly, we do not panic. Kale followed her gaze and saw an alien boarding pod detaching from one of the ships. It moved toward the station's docking bay at high speed. Leora did not flinch. Instead, she walked slowly toward the bay, gesturing with her hand. The gravitational device activated, creating a subtle field that slowed the pod's approach. It tumbled harmlessly past the docking doors, unable to reach the station. Kale was amazed. She was not just defending the station. She was controlling the battlefield, turning the aliens' aggression against them. Every movement was calculated, every action deliberate, and yet executed with an almost casual ease. The alien leader's voice came over a comm link, distorted and harsh. "Surrender the device, human. You cannot resist us forever." Leora's response was calm, her voice steady. "I do not surrender. You underestimate humans, and that is your mistake." Kale watched as she raised both hands, the device pulsing with light. The gravitational field expanded, creating small but effective obstacles for the alien ships. Some vessels were caught in orbit loops, others spun harmlessly away. The alien leader's fleet faltered, unsure how to counter these unpredictable tactics. Kale felt his heart swell. Humans were underestimated, yes, but here, one human was showing the galaxy the truth. They were clever, adaptable, and capable of extraordinary feats when guided by intelligence and courage. The aliens attempted a final, concentrated strike, sending multiple ships in a coordinated attack. Leora did not rush. She observed, calculated, and then acted. A subtle adjustment of the device shifted the gravitational field just enough to deflect their attack. The ships collided with minor obstacles, their formation breaking apart. Kale realized something important. Strength was not always power. Humans could succeed where others failed because they thought differently, adapted quickly, and remained calm under pressure. Leora was the perfect example of that principle. The alien leader's voice grew desperate. "You cannot hold out forever," Leora smiled faintly. "Humans do not give up easily," she said. "We find solutions, even when the odds are against us." Kale felt a surge of determination. He realized that he had learned more in these hours than he ever could have imagined. Human ingenuity was not just cleverness or technology. It was mindset, patience, and creativity. And here, in the heart of a hostile galaxy, one human had turned the tide against impossible odds. The alien ships, unable to adjust to the unpredictable gravitational fields, began to retreat. The station shuddered as the last vessel disengaged, and the alarms slowly ceased. The control room fell silent, except for the soft hum of the device. Kale looked at Leora, his eyes wide with admiration. You did it, we did it." Leora's calm expression softened slightly, a rare smile crossing her face. "Yes," she said quietly. "Humans can do more than others expect, never forget that." "We are underestimated until we are not." Kale nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride. Humans were clever, adaptable, and brave. One human, moving slowly, thinking deliberately, and remaining calm under pressure, had changed the course of events for countless lives. As they monitored the station systems, Kale realized that this mission had proven more than just their ability to survive. It had shown the true power of humans in the galaxy: patience, intelligence, creativity, and courage. The stars outside the viewport were calm again, and the dying star cast a gentle glow over the station. Kale felt hope stir within him. Humans had been underestimated for too long, but one human, one slow, deliberate, and brilliant human, had left the galaxy in awe. Leora turned to him. "The device is safe, the station is secure, but our journey is not over. There are others who will not understand humans until we show them, and that is our challenge." Kale nodded, understanding. This was only one victory in a galaxy that often dismissed humans. But with intelligence, courage, and careful planning, humans could succeed where others failed. And with Leora leading the way, the galaxy would never underestimate them again. For the first time, Kale truly believed that humans could achieve the extraordinary. One human, calm, clever, and unyielding, could change the course of events and leave the universe, aliens and humans alike, speechless. And that knowledge, Kale realized, was worth every moment of fear, every second of tension, and every challenge they had faced. Humans were not weak. Humans were remarkable. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand that truth. The research station floated silently above the dying star, its systems now stable, thanks to the device that Leora had installed. Kale walked slowly down the main corridor, still absorbing everything that had happened. The adrenaline from the recent confrontation with the alien fleet was fading, replaced by a deep, reflective calm. For the first time, he could see clearly what humans were truly capable of. Leora remained in the central hub, watching the station's readings. Her calm presence filled the room like a quiet, steady heartbeat. Even after facing the alien coalition, she had not shown fear, only patience, intelligence, and precision. Kale had learned more from her in a single mission than he could have imagined in a lifetime. "You did it," Kale said, his voice soft, almost reverent. "The station, it's safe. The colonies will survive." Leora turned to him, her face illuminated by the gentle glow of the control panels. "Yes," she said, "but it is not just the station. This is a lesson, Kale. Humans are underestimated in the galaxy. People think we are weak, fragile, and easily dismissed. But we adapt, we create, we solve problems that others cannot. And one human, calm, clever, and determined, can make the difference." Kale nodded slowly, feeling a mix of pride and awe. He had seen it firsthand. A single human, walking slowly, thinking deliberately, and acting with intelligence, had outmaneuvered an entire alien fleet and stabilized a station critical to the survival of human colonies. As they prepared to leave the station, Leora turned to the communications console. She sent a brief message to the human colonies that would benefit from the device. The response came almost immediately, messages of relief, gratitude, and admiration. Kale read them silently, realizing the magnitude of what they had accomplished. "They are inspired," he said quietly. "Humans across the galaxy, they will hear about this." "They will," Leora confirmed. "And they will remember that humans are capable of extraordinary things when we think, adapt, and act together. That is our strength." The shuttle that had brought them to the station was waiting in the docking bay. Leora moved slowly toward it, gesturing for Kale to follow. As they boarded, Kale glanced back at the station, feeling a sense of accomplishment mixed with melancholy. They had succeeded, but he knew that the galaxy would not remain calm for long. There would always be those who underestimated humans, who tried to challenge them. But now Kale understood the truth. Humans were clever, adaptable, and courageous. And one human, moving deliberately and acting with intelligence, could leave a lasting impact on the galaxy. As the shuttle lifted off, Kale watched the alien fleet retreating in the distance. The ships had not been destroyed, but they had learned something important. Humans were not to be underestimated. One human had outmaneuvered them with calm precision and clever strategy. The knowledge would spread, and humans would no longer be dismissed so easily. Inside the shuttle, Kale finally allowed himself to relax. The hum of the engines and the gentle glow of the controls filled the small cabin. Leora sat calmly, her hands resting lightly on her lap, eyes forward, scanning the endless expanse of stars. "You've taught me so much," Kale said softly. "I've never seen humans at their best like this. I understand now." Leora's expression softened slightly. "It is not just me. Humans have always had the potential. Many have not realized it yet. But moments like this, moments when we are pushed to the edge, that is when our true nature shows." Kale nodded, understanding more than words could express. He thought of the human colonies that would now survive, of the countless lives saved by their careful planning, calm decision-making, and ingenuity. It was not just technology that had made the difference. It was human spirit, intelligence, and courage. The shuttle glided through space, leaving the station and the dying star behind. Kale looked out the viewport at the endless stars, feeling a sense of awe. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, wonders, and challenges. But humans had something special, an ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to act with courage. And that ability, Kale realized, could change the course of the universe. Leora spoke quietly, her voice carrying a tone of reflection. "The galaxy will watch humans now. Some will fear us, some will admire us, but they will no longer underestimate us. That is the power of one human moving deliberately and thinking clearly. That is what you witnessed today." Kale felt a surge of pride. He had watched it himself. He had seen a single human, calm and clever, outmaneuver an entire fleet, stabilize a station critical to survival, and inspire others without firing a single weapon. It was a victory of intellect, patience, and courage, a testament to what humans could achieve. As they traveled farther from the station, Kale asked, "Where will we go next?" Leora smiled faintly, her eyes distant. "There are others who need to see what humans can do. There are threats in the galaxy that do not understand humans, that underestimate our capabilities. And we will show them, slowly, deliberately, with intelligence and courage. That is our way. Kale nodded, understanding that this was just the beginning. Humans would face challenges, yes, but they would succeed through ingenuity, patience, and determination. He felt a sense of hope stir within him, a belief that humans could accomplish extraordinary things if they embraced their strengths. As the shuttle glided past the edge of the star system, the dying star's glow fading into the distance, Kale realized how much he had changed. He had seen fear and danger, yes, but he had also seen courage, intelligence, and human ingenuity in action. One human, Leora, had changed the course of events, leaving the galaxy speechless, and Kale knew that the story would continue. Humans would face challenges, but they would meet them with calm determination, creativity, and courage. The galaxy would watch, and slowly, deliberately, humans would earn the respect they deserved. The stars stretched endlessly around them, a silent witness to the triumph of human spirit. Kale felt a quiet sense of pride, knowing that he had been part of something extraordinary. He had seen humans at their best, and he knew that the galaxy would never be the same again. Leora remained calm, her hand resting lightly on the device that had changed everything. Kale watched her and understood something fundamental. Strength was not always measured by firepower or technology. True strength came from intelligence, creativity, and the courage to act thoughtfully under pressure. Humans had that strength in abundance, and one human, calm and deliberate, had shown the galaxy what was possible. Kale leaned back in his seat, looking out at the stars. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Humans were underestimated, yes, but no longer. The galaxy had seen what one human could do, and the impact would ripple outward, inspiring others to recognize their potential. The shuttle moved steadily through the darkness, leaving the dying star behind. Kale felt a sense of hope, a belief that humans could achieve anything if they relied on their ingenuity, courage, and determination. And with Leora leading the way, he knew that humanity's future was bright. For the first time, he allowed himself to smile. Humans had been underestimated for too long, but now the galaxy had seen the truth. Humans were clever, adaptable, and brave. One human could leave a galaxy in awe, and Kale knew that Leora's journey and the journey of all humans was only beginning. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of possibilities, challenges, and discoveries, but Kale felt confident. Humans would rise to meet every challenge, slowly, deliberately, and with intelligence. The galaxy would no longer doubt them, and with that thought, Kale leaned back, feeling at peace. Humans had walked into the galaxy slowly, deliberately, and left it speechless.